So we moved to Stafford County in 2014 that summer. I got the job as the band director at St. John High School. We initially moved down here thinking we'd probably get a house for our family in 6 months, maybe a full school year. And then we realized 5 years later, after living with my in-laws for that long, it was a lot harder to find a house. After those 5 years of keeping all of your belongings in storage, 5 years of not being able to have any control over, your life, 5 years of having to drive half an hour one way to get to work every single day. That kind of takes its toll on you. And to be honest, we're kind of the lucky ones. Like Dorothy says in The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. 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 There's no place like home.
Residents of small towns have been struggling to find affordable housing as prices have risen and wages have stagnated, but the problem is particularly acute in St. John, a town of just under 1,200 people. As we drive through the streets of St. John, it's clear that something is amiss. Lack of housing has become an increasing issue. The current housing stock in Stafford County is generally old, not in good condition, and of lower value. Since the majority of our housing is older and in less than good condition, it also has a lower valuation. In Stafford County, 71% of houses are valued under $100,000 and 91% are valued under $200,000. Less than 5% of the county's housing stock is valued at $250,000 or more.
Combating the issue ultimately boils down to just building more housing. And so the challenge is, how do you finance that? Hi, I'm Carolyn Dunn. I'm Strategic Projects Director for Stafford County Economic Development. I think what we have is, by a lot of standards, affordable. The challenge is we don't have enough of it, and the condition of the housing that we have is less than desirable. The average age of house in Stafford County is 87 years old. It means we have a lot of housing in dilapidating condition, or it may not have a lot of the kind of characteristics that a young person might desire in a house.
The biggest housing boom was in the early part of the 20th century, with the largest housing development in Stafford County occurring during the 1910s. Today, almost 40% of the houses in Stafford County are over 100 years old.
Okay, the risk that an investment has been misrepresented.
One of the biggest entities impacted by a housing shortage in rural communities are local school districts. The St. John Hudson School District is no exception, having experienced changes due to the lack of available housing.
Enrollment, if we don't have families moving to town, to our community, enrollment suffers. Also with staffing, we have a hard time finding people. If there's no place to live, it's hard to take a job somewhere where there's not a place to live. So we've not had anybody officially been offered a position and said, I can't take that job because we don't have housing. I think more we see it that people just don't apply for jobs in our district because there's not places to live.
The people of St. John are fighting back, however. Community groups and local leaders are working together to find solutions to the housing crisis. They're exploring new ways to build and finance housing, and they're pushing for policies that will support affordable housing in rural Kansas.
There's some property near the tennis courts, just north of the main school building, that we have sold with the purpose of building a single-family home, and one of those lots has sold, and there's a house there. Another lot has been sold, and there's a group looking to build a house on that. One thing that the school district has done is we had a house donated by Tom and Sabrina Garner, and the students with Mr. Moritz have been remodeling that house in hopes of selling it down the road. We hope to do that again, to take another home in town and remodel that.
What year did you acquire the house?
We got the house in 2020 at the end of the school year, kind of when COVID happened, actually.
Mm-hmm. When did you begin working on the house?
That next school year in August 2020, and we started with demo and more demo, and we had to put it back together. So, but we did have to buy tools. I'd say we spent about $5,000 plus on tools, drills, table saws, miter saws, drywall lift. And then so far, with all the other expenses like insulation, electrical, plumbing, furnace, heating, and stuff, I think we'll spend up to $40,000 when we're done, or more.
It's not just a matter of people being unable to afford the rising costs of housing. Many towns in rural Kansas lack the infrastructure and resources to attract new development, and there's a lack of affordable rental housing for people who can't afford to buy.
Well, we've tried building houses, we've renovated houses, and I think the house that we're in is the product of some research we did in conjunction with Kansas State University's College of Architecture. We gave a student design build class a challenge to build a house that would be at a lower price point and more affordable to rural incomes.
Well, there's two big challenges. The biggest challenges when it comes to the housing is the need for skilled contractors that are available and able to do the work at a reasonable price. And then the other piece is having the funding to be able to do the work. So when we were doing this current 10-unit rental project, it took about a year to find a contractor who would be the general contractor for the project and be able to carry it out at a price point close to what the architects had estimated the house be.
It's a long and difficult battle, but the people of St. John and rural Kansas are determined to find a way to provide affordable housing for all. Because at the end of the day, a roof over one's head is a basic human right, and it's a right that should be protected for all. But only time will tell.